Hey everyone. So I wanted to come on here and talk about something that, obviously JD from NY206 of Off the Script and Solomonster, Jason Solomon, are going to talk about in a few hours on their Tuesday Night Titans edition. I think it's episode 50. So congratulations to JD of Off the Script for doing that, I should say. If it is episode 50, for getting to that point. In the collaboration with both Solomonster now, and then before that Andrew Baydella, and then a few fill-ins here and there, and even on his own. But one thing they're going to talk about and address is there's a report going around, and I got to cite Just Alex of Just Alex Central on Twitter/X, if you will, as well as Facebook, because he brought this up. And this was the first thing that I saw this morning. Well, one of the first things I saw this morning. And basically he said this, and I quote, this is from Just Alex, at his Just Alex Central Twitter page. He said, and I quote, "I saw a report saying Tony Khan is not happy with the new media rights deal WBD, Warner Bros. Discovery, offered AEW. I'll wait until an official deal is made to give my full thoughts. But if AEW gets the same 5-year deal with a streaming deal on Max, but no monitoring increase or decrease, that is a blessing." Now, what he means by no monitoring decrease or increase, like monetization, basically what it is here, what the reports are saying, if you believe any of these reports, is that, Warner Bros. Discovery, David Zaslav, and all of them, they want to keep AEW around, but they're not willing to give them an increase in money, like increase in media rights, financially, due to the fact that obviously they see what a lot of people are saying and talking about, and that is the fact that AEW right now, is not turning a profit. It's not, in a positive state, if you will, to, I guess you could say, deserve, that kind of reward, if you will, financially. Now, he goes on to say this, and I quote, "WBD has every right to decrease the offer knowing AEW isn't as hot or as valuable as it was 3 years ago, let alone 5 years. I do hope they get some kind of increase, though. Even if it isn't the increase they want, Tony should take it. Bite the bullet, take the positives with the negatives. Understand why you got the deal, make the necessary changes, and just produce better television to get your numbers up." And that's pretty much what it is at the end of the day. That's pretty much what it is at the end of the day. It's more along the lines of, and that's a notification, I do apologize if you heard anything. But like I said, it's more along the lines of the fact that, the WBD may come out, according to Tony Khan, and say, hey, we're happy, with the increase in numbers, we're happy, of where things are right now, and they might come out and say that, but in reality, they might just be, saying to themselves, look, AEW is doing decent numbers, but they're not the numbers, that they used to have. And yes, people do tune into them, which is a positive, but, they're not as, good, they're not as valuable as they used to be. It's like Alex said here, it's like if AEW was as valuable as it was 3 years ago, or at least when it began, then in my opinion, and he's probably in agreement with this, they might get what they're hoping for. They might get that media rights increase and everything, and, just, and be able to do what they got to do, improve production, production and, lights and ring and all that, the overall presentation, they'd be able to do that. But right now they're in a situation to where, yes, people watch, on a weekly basis, and they do probably add in the whole on-demand DVR viewership as well, as a reason to want to keep them. But still, it's not. But still, even with that, it's still not enough, for WBD, for David Zaslav and his crew and Kathleen Finch to say, yeah, we're going to give you an increase financially in media rights to make vast improvements on your production and sign more talent and everything like that. No, they're not going to do that. This here, if what other reports are saying is true, along with this, I think, honestly, everybody like Alex is right. They should just be satisfied with what they're getting. I mean, there are other reports that along with this deal, which will not have a monetized, increase or, decrease, like Tony would want, basically the deal, which, the streaming deal with Max would basically allow them to put the pay-per-views on the Max streaming service. And we're not talking past pay-per-views, and everything. We're talking just like what you see with Peacock and WWE right now. Those kind of pay-per-views. And again, I don't know. And again, Tony should be happy about that. Now, I don't know if Tony might be, upset at the fact that if they go that route to where the pay-per-views are on Max and people just have to pay a fee of like $11.99 a month to be able to enjoy them. I don't know if maybe that's what's upsetting him because, maybe he's thinking, well, why should I agree to have it on the Max streaming service, which I want, and people, where people can watch the pay-per-views for, more cost-efficient price if I can't get a financial increase in return. Because to him, from his point of view, because I guess he's a numbers guy, he would think that doesn't balance out. That doesn't make sense. Like, why am I going to sacrifice having the fans, pay about $50, $50, $60 a month, depending on the, format they watch the pay-per-view in. Why am I going to sacrifice that to basically $12, $15 a month, for them to pay just to watch those same pay-per-views? Why am I going to do that if I can't get something financially in return? So, it's no wonder when you look around and you read this report and you read other reports similar to it with the same kind of verbiage and along with additional verbiage, it's no wonder why maybe you would believe that Tony Khan's not too thrilled with the idea that, hey, here's the possible deal you're going to get. You're not going to see a financial increase or decrease. You're going to get that same deal for the same amount of money. The only addition, the only plus is you're going to have a deal to have your content, like your live pay-per-views as they happen, shown on Max instead of just pay-per-view. And again, if you're Tony and you're a numbers guy, from, his point of view, obviously it's not a good deal to make. Basically in his mind, it's like, hey, if you're not going to give me what I feel we deserve, or I believe we deserve, along with this deal where our pay-per-views would be live on your service, then I don't want it. I don't want it. Now, there is one thing about the article. Some people are saying that it's not entirely true. Some of it might be reworded differently. Some may be taking it out of circulation, and so on. And that might be, a fact. We'll find out more later when, Off the Scripts Tuesday Night Titans with Solid Monster and JD from NY206 airs live on YouTube. But with that said, though, I do agree again with what Alex said here. Take the positives along with the negatives. Understand why you got the deal, make the changes necessary, and just produce better television to get your numbers up. Because here's the thing, what Alex is saying there is basically Tony needs to understand, hey, look, you wanted the deal, you wanted a certain deal, you're not going to get it. And now you'll probably understand, hopefully now you'll probably understand why. And I think, what he's saying is that Tony, hopefully, with this offer given to him, if this is true, and it sounds like it might be, hopefully Tony will realize, hey, he can't be just, targeting and targeting and basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Targeting and pleasuring a niche audience with with what he presents. No, you got to have a broader sense of what you bring to the table. And that broader sense means basically doing things that, basically you said you would never do because you're an alternative, but now you probably realize, okay, maybe we have to do that. Maybe we have to go this route. Maybe we have to take a page out of a competition or, the WWE's playbook and all that, If you have to do that, then so be it. And if it results in better television, so be it. We'll have to see. We'll have to see and wait and, have to wait and see, what they do. But, that is something that does make sense. If he would have gone down that route to where it's like, okay, look, we'll have a few matches in between, we'll do a segment here and everything that helps increase a major story that people are invested in, and then go from there. If he would do something like that, then maybe he wouldn't have an issue right now. And that's a fact. Maybe he wouldn't have an issue right now, and that's a fact. But, I think what this is, if this is true to any extent, is this is WBD slapping him on the wrist. Basically having him stand in the corner and think about what he's done, and then basically coming out of the corner and being given this offer as severance, and, well, I wouldn't say severance pay, but as as sort of like, like I said, a slap on the wrist, maybe of let this be a lesson to you, to do better, and so on. It's kind of like, when you're in high school, right? There are certain schools out there, and believe me, I was part of it for the first year, where you need to pass at least all of your classes to participate in sports. I didn't do that, so I couldn't fully participate on the court for basketball. I couldn't do that. This is kind of like that. It's basically like Tony's passing, but he's not passing all of it. He's not passing all the classes he needs to pass. He's not passing all the tests he needs to pass to get the opportunity to play, or in this case, get that increase he wants. Even the 3 years after that, what he said to change the rules to where it's like, hey, all you have to do is pass 6 out of your 8 classes. It's the same thing. Tony, he's only passing 6 out of his 8 tests, if you will. And because of that, yeah, he'll be able to stay, but he's not going to get his increase. Like if he passes all 8 classes, hey, you get all the rewards. You get the valedictorianship, you get the valedictorianship, you get the scholarship, you get all of that. You get everything you want. But he's not passing all 8 of his tests, or classes in this case. He's only passing 6 of them. And 6 of them are passable and keep you eligible, but it's not enough. It's not enough to give you that full treatment. It's not enough, to give you that full treatment, to give you all those honors that you feel you rightfully have earned and deserved. Yeah, they've done a lot of good throughout their 5-year existence. Great for them, but they've also done a lot of bad. And if they would have had that good outweigh the bad, maybe they would get what they want. Maybe he would get that increase. But it's on him. It's on him. And here's the thing. Tony Khan and his team should have known this might happen. They should have known. But they didn't take that into consideration. They didn't. And now, as a result, he might stay. He mightn't be able. Let me reword that. As a result, he might and probably will be able to stay on TNT and TBS, as well as get the max deal he's been wanting. But that's it. Because in turn of getting that max deal, all he's going to get, essentially, is just the same deal. And that's it. Just the same deal as he did before. No increase whatsoever. And let me say this. People are pandering about Becky Lynch going to possibly AEW. Why would she want to go to AEW, essentially? Why would she want to go to AEW if she's hearing, this kind of news being, tossed around, where there could be some truth to it, because like the old saying goes, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So why would she want to go somewhere where she could see the smoke coming from there, knowing there could be a big fire attached to it? Why would she want to, dip her toes there? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And then, of course, you gotta realize that, Zaslav and Finch and all of them are probably looking at all these social media, posts that Tony puts up, social media videos that has Tony involved, and they notice, hey, he's not acting like a boss. He's acting more like a fan. He's at the club partying with Mercedes Moné, and Will Ospreay, and Patricia, aka Bailey from WWE. They're seeing this and they're like, this is not a boss. They probably see his so-called media scrums or the interviews he's done to, talk about and promote AEW or the other things he's involved in, and they notice maybe he's not answering the questions straight up, and he's trying to avoid them. That might all be playing a part too. Because they look at all that and they say, that's not a real boss. Like, he's a good business person, but he's not a real boss. He's more of a fan, And in their eyes, maybe if he was a real boss, he'd answer those questions asked about, circumstances, situations and all that in AEW. He wouldn't go out and party like he's a freaking teenager and everything. They would basically take him more seriously if he didn't do all that. But yet, here's all these examples. Along with the decrease in attendance, along with the decrease in viewership, that basically making them say, look, AEW is still very, polarizing, still very popular, in the eyes of a lot of fans. It has a decent viewership at times, and attendance sometimes can be up. So you know what? Fine. We'll keep them on, but we're not going to give them any increase. We're not going to give them any increase. We're not going to decrease. We're not going to do any of that. But what we will do is we'll finally give them what they've been wanting, to where people at a more affordable price nowadays can watch the pay-per-views live. And again, like I said, Tony Khan probably saw that, and he's like, well, why would I want to sacrifice the $50 to $60 people are paying on a regular pay-per-view basis for them to pay like $12 to $15 a month just to watch them live on Max if I'm not going to get something financially in return? So yeah, Tony, it's understandable why he'd be angry, but he also has to understand, Tony, you brought it on yourself. Not just the way AEW is right now, attendance and viewership-wise, but also the fact that you're not acting like a legit boss. You're not acting like someone that takes this seriously, at all. You avoid questions about the situation, about the status of the company, in certain, backstage incidents. You avoid those, as well as you go out and basically, make yourself look like a fool by going to dance clubs and celebrating when you should be focusing on what your company's going to do next to build off, the double or nothing momentum you have. So it's like you take all these things into consideration, and again, TK has no one to blame but himself, because he's now, I think what's happening, and maybe his father Shad Khan's probably telling him this. He's saying, maybe his father Shad Khan's saying, look, you want to know why that you're not going to get that? And you're only going to get the max thing added on, for what you've already been making? It's because you're not being a real boss. It's like you lose your cool on social media when somebody says something negative about you or the company. You lose your cool in these post conferences, or these post show press conferences or media scrums. At times when somebody asks you something or this and that, you go out and you basically make a fool of yourself, dancing at dance clubs like you're a teenager. It's no wonder they're not taking you seriously and not going to want to give you any financial increase. And most of all, your attendance and viewership numbers have been down. Maybe his dad probably is telling him that, and hopefully it wakes him up and he's like, okay, maybe I need to stop acting like that. And again, I think what's going to be needed, and people don't want to hear this, but it's the fact, he's probably going to have to look at what WWE's doing and say, okay, what are they doing, that we could do maybe a bit better? Maybe that's what they need to do. But we'll have to see. But yeah, Tony not being happy with the possible deal he's getting according to these reports, again, he's got no one but himself to blame. But it's like Alex said, he should just be happy with, the offer he's getting, because at least, hey, you're getting the max deal. You're getting max added on, to your deal, which would basically be the same deal for the next 5 years that you've had for the past 5 years. Hey, at least you're getting that deal, or you're getting that added on to the deal, so that's a positive. But again, obviously, I'm thinking he probably feels that, hey, if I can't, get what I want, then why would I want to sacrifice, my, $50 to $60, every month or every other month, for a pay-per-view, why would I want to sacrifice it for people just to pay $12 to $15 a month just to watch it on a streaming service, so, that might be one of the reasons he's mad, because if he can't get something in return, why should he accept nothing? Why should he accept something that's going to decrease, the pay-per-view buys, which financially do help the company? Why would he want to sacrifice that? See, that's the question. That's the question, that, people need to answer, or need to try to answer. And again, I think, honestly, he doesn't want to sacrifice anything unless he gets something in return. That's just me. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. What are your thoughts on the possibility that Tony Khan, on the possibility of this deal that Tony Khan might be getting, which is basically the same deal he had these previous 5 years, the only addition being, the add-on of Max streaming service to showcase, past Dynamites, Collisions, Rampage, Ring of Honor, and the possible live, bi-monthly pay-per-view or monthly pay-per-view, outside of the regular pay-per-view, outside of the regular broadcast on pay-per-view, I should say. What are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comment section, if you will. And sorry for that notification there. I do apologize. But again, let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. And until then, guys, I am out.